So the message for today is obey to remain and enjoy. Obey to remain and enjoy. Jesus is telling us, if you want to remain in my love, keep my commandments, obey my commandments, then you will remain and then you will enjoy, because my joy will be in you and your joy will be complete. Beloved people of God, I'm sure we know very well that to be in any relationship, to be in any company, in any group, in any association, to be in a country, and to be in this world at large, we have rules, regulations, norms, decrees, constitution, commandments to follow. And based on whether you follow these or do not, you either stay or you are thrown out. So if you obey, you remain. If you do not, you are cast out. So when God created Adam and Eve, he gave them commandments. He gave them, you can eat all of this, but not that one. When they disobeyed, what did he do? He threw them out of the garden. He picked the nation of Israel as his own possession and gave them a land, a promised land. So long as they obeyed him, they enjoyed the fruits, the land filled with honey and milk. As soon as they disobeyed, what happened? Their enemies overcame them and they were sent out of the promised land into exile. If you obey, you remain. And so Jesus is telling us today that if we want to be in a relationship with him, he has given us his commandments. We need to obey them and then remain in his love. And that is why also in the first reading, as the group of disciples enlarged, some other group who are not originally Jews, Gentiles, are coming to mix up with them. And so they are telling them, okay, we have observed that the Spirit of the Lord has also come upon you. We want to be in fellowship with you, in communion with you, in relationship with you. But this group of ours has gotten some basic principles. We wouldn't lay any burdens on you, but we have some rules and regulations that you have to follow. And how many did they give them? How many? There were 4. They said, you have to stay away from idols, from unlawful marriage, from the meat of strangled animals, and from blood. 4. Take note of them. So they told them literally, if you want to be part of us, you must obey. If you want to remain part of our group, you must obey. As long as you obey these, you are part of us. If you do not, you are thrown out. And all of these principles, norms, rules, regulations, constitution, and commandments have basically 3 dimensions: relationship with God, with neighbor, and with self. And so, when a teacher of the law in Mark chapter 12, verse 28 to 31, asked Jesus, which of these 10 commandments is the greatest? He reduced them only to 2, and those 2 had 3 dimensions. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. So these apostles, or the group of community of believers, are giving these Gentiles, those 4, which also have the same 3 dimensions. The first one is stay away from idolatry, idols. In other words, you have to take the Lord your God only as your God. Stay away from anything that comes in the way of your relationship with the Lord. And then they told them to stay away from unlawful marriage. That is to say that respect your neighbor's property, which includes his wife and then her husband. Stay away from unlawful marriage. From strangled animals, you know that neighbor also refers to the physical surroundings we have. So animals and trees and vegetation, the seas, the forests, the valleys and mountains are all part of our neighbors. So if we are told to love the Lord our God and our neighbor, let us remember that it's both physical neighbor and then the social neighborhood. They are all part of us. And so the commandments they gave them had these dimensions. No idolatry, respect relationship. Stay away from strangled animals. Don't treat animals anyhow. You know why? When over here, I love it that when you mistreat or maltreat any animal, you are arrested because they are part of us. When God created, He gave the earth for the upkeep of man. Till it and keep it. And all of these animals were part of it. The vegetation, the flowers, and everything around us were part of God's creation. We are supposed to be taking care of them. So if we want to remain in this world and enjoy the fruits of this world, we must obey the commandments. If we want to remain in relationship with the Lord and enjoy His love and that our joy may be complete, we must obey His commandments. And the commandments have 3 dimensions. One towards God, toward neighbor, and toward self. If we fail in any of these dimensions, there's something wrong. Something will go wrong. If we fail in our relationship with the Lord, there is, the consequences that follow. Any nation or any country or any relationship or any association that does away with God, we are all aware of the consequences that we face. So as long as, or as much as our world decides to push God aside, we will suffer because we are definitely in relationship with Him. If the relationship suffers between people, if there's no justice, if there's no fairness, something will go wrong. There will be uprising, there will be riots, there will be protests, and we have witnessed this in our world. These are examples that, to close with, yesterday I Googled the American pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of America and to the republic for which it stands. One nation under God. You see that dimension also there? With what? Justice and liberty for. So you see that even your pledge is also having this same dimension I'm talking of. And as I've been speaking, I've been making one sign, the sign of the cross. That is why Jesus says, if you want to be a follower of mine, take up your cross and follow me. This is the basic principle for our lives. Let us obey to remain in the joy of the Lord. When we walk with the Lord in the light of His word, what a glory He sheds on our way. While we do His good will, He abides with us still, and with all who would trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey.